Hey everyone, Rho here. Today we discuss the Tyranid's secret weapon. Just what are they up to? Now, I don't think we really need a spoiler warning for today, but we'll probably be referencing other points within the lore, so we'll throw out a general spoiler warning just in case. And with that said, let's just jump straight in. Now, last week we discussed which minor Hive Fleet of the Tyranids could be the next one to achieve major Hive Fleet status, evolving to become a truly major threat to the galaxy's survival. And during that conversation we discussed the strange behaviour of Hive Fleet Tiamet, how rather than rushing into the heart of the galaxy, they have seemingly remained fixated around the Tiamet system, hence the name. And not only that, they appear to be creating some form of gigantic biostructure that's emitting rather troubling psychic screams. So today, we're going to have a few theories on just what the Tyranids could be up to. And to begin, we need to ask, what exactly do we know about Hive Fleet Tiamet? Well, going by the 8th edition Tyranids Codex map, it's located on the far galactic east, on the very borders of the Eastern Fringe, above the Great Rift within the Dark Imperium, just to the south of the Somnium Stars. As earlier said, we know the Tyranids have claimed an area of planets around the Tiamet system, and not only have they not stripped them barren, as they usually would, but they are also defending the territory fiercely. This Hive Fleet's adaptations seem especially geared towards defense, with remarkably strong hides and armor, which certainly implies they were designed especially for this purpose. Genestealer cults have begun to arise in particular numbers in the surrounding area, aptly named the Choir of the Void, and they appear to be harvesting resources directly for Tiamet. Perhaps most importantly, thanks to Craftworld Eandon, we know they are creating some form of giant structure, located upon the jungle world of Zeophoria. It is shaped like a cone, and is fully the size of a continent, filled with psychic energy. Many of the Eldari died simply by being close to it. Such was the power of the Tyranid hive mind. The Deathwatch too have investigated the world, and though they died in the attempt, we know thanks to their mission that this structure emits psychic waves. The librarian of their task force instantly died as it was unleashed. So just what could this structure be? And just what is Hive Fleet Tiamet up to? Well, I think the most logical theory is actually one that some within the Inquisition themselves believe. That the structure is some form of beacon, guiding more Tyranids towards the galaxy. And I think this could make a lot of sense. Firstly, we know thanks to the Horus Heresy novel Pharos, that the Tyranids were initially drawn to the galaxy thanks to the Pharos beacon. Before they noticed that flash, they were drifting in a completely different direction. So thanks for that, Gilliman. This was just a one-time split-second flash of light. Given it was over 10,000 years ago now, could the Tyranids have somehow decided they need to replicate it again, to draw more of their fleets towards the galaxy, which in essence would make this structure some form of Tyranid lighthouse, emitting those pulsing psychic waves, creating a blinking light amid the dark. For me, this theory certainly works from what we know. Now, an argument against that could be that the Tyranids are linked by their hive mind, that they really wouldn't need another beacon. As soon as one hive fleet knows where to go, they all do. That's how the Swarm Lord can reappear in hive fleets time after time. However, the truth is, We just don't know how the hive mind works. Everything is based on assumption. So maybe a beacon is needed in some way. Maybe there actually are more than one hive mind, that we've only seen one particular branch of the race so far. We're assuming there is only one collective hive mind. Maybe there simply is countless more. We just don't know. Now, along those lines, we also know that they appear to be attracted by the Astronomicon, judging by their apparent course straight towards the throne world. However, thanks to Abaddon's destruction of Cadia, the great rift of the Cicatrix Maledictum has blocked out that light. The northern half of the Imperium is called the Dark Imperium for a reason. The Emperor's light cannot reach it. This means the Tyranids incoming north of the Great Rift can no longer see the Astronomicon either. If this structure is not replicating the effect of the Pharos, perhaps instead it's replicating the draw of the Astronomicon. Either way, it's definitely an interesting theory, and for me probably is the most likely scenario, given at least what we know of the Tyranid race thus far. However, there are a few other intriguing possibilities. The first of which is that once completed, it could work as some form of teleportation gate. Think a Tyranid version of the Necron Pharos system. And I'm not just making that up either, because there was actually a very intriguing hint way back in the 5th edition rulebook, an unexplained mystery regarding Hive Fleet Tiamet. Now there, Tyranid forces of Hive Fleet Tiamet were found all the way across the galaxy, located within Segmentum Obscurus, which is the top left portion of the Imperium, above the Eye of Terror. How this force got there, nobody knows. There is no evidence or record to give any explanation. Yet there they were. Now, how could this fleet have got there? Is it possible it simply drifted through the darkness, avoiding any systems until it was discovered within Obscurus? I guess you can't rule it out. However, that's pretty unlikely for me considering what we know of Tiamat's actions so far, that they alone of all the Hive fleets encountered have remained locked around one system of space. And not only that, but this force would still have had to manage to cross the entire Imperium without being detected. As mammoth as the Imperium is, I find it extremely hard to fathom that they could have managed that without at least some form of detection or alarm being raised. And why on earth would they suddenly send out one random force across the Dark Imperium, not even on a course for Terra? It doesn't make sense. Is it just possible that this construction of the Tyranids is some form of transportation network? That this force of Tiamat was found within Segmentum Obscurus because it was their first attempt? It's definitely intriguing. Maybe they've somehow managed to detect the Eldari webway, and this construction could even be their attempt at gaining access. Somehow this force managed it, and emerged within Obscurus. While it's unlikely, that would certainly explain Eandon's concern. Regardless of the specifics, if it does involve faster transportation somehow, in theory we could see more of these attempts springing up across the galaxy, as the Tyranids attempt their own means for faster transportation. As crazy as it all sounds, until we're given a reasonable explanation for why this portion of Tiamat was discovered on the other side of the Imperium, well, it does merit some consideration. Now, the next theory is in a similar sort of vein, As we know, the tearing of the galaxy in half has caused major problems. In essence, there is now 2 Imperiums, with Guilliman having to appoint Dante his warden of the northern half, while he focuses on the south. Travel across the rift is impossibly limited. Barely a handful of risk-filled corridors exist. And while we really only talk of this from an Imperium standpoint, the fact is the rest of the races face the same problems. And the Tyranids are no exception. We have seen with Hive Fleet Kronos that they have evolved to face the newer, higher rate of demonic forces. Could Tiamat perhaps be an evolution to combating the flood of the rift itself? That these psychic waves the construction is emitting is the Tyranids' way of combating the flood of the Immaterium. As we know from the Eldari deaths who went to investigate, the shadow in the warp is immensely strong around this construction. They certainly wouldn't be the only Xeno race attempting to do the same thing. We have seen the Silent King doing very much the same thing for the Necrons. The difference here, of course, is while the Silent King may be trying to save his race, the Tyranids may more simply be seeking a way to cross the rift, to stop the Immaterium from eradicating their food source. Honestly, I could buy that one as well. We know the Ruinous Powers and the Immaterium are the complete opposite to the Tyranids. They gain absolutely nothing from fighting the forces of the Ruinous Powers. They can't absorb anything from the demons that they slay. For the Tyranids, it's a completely worthless endeavour. Surely with what we know of the hive mind, they'd absolutely evolve in a major way to this new situation. Kronos may simply be a smaller example of that, and Tiamat could just be the truth. Now, I think those theories really are the most logically based arguments for my mind, with what we know of Tiamat's construction and the Tyranid race as a whole. However, of course, there are more out there theories that this could really just be the first emergence of the truth of the Tyranid race. If we could see the galaxies they've already plagued, they could be filled with these buildings, for want of a better expression. Perhaps the Tyranids wiping out a galaxy is only the first stage of their purpose. After these more bestial, destructive Tyranids comes another wave entirely. This construction could perhaps just be the first hint. Once it's completed, going forward, the Tyranid hive fleets could well increase in number and organisation. Maybe because this galaxy is dominated entirely by the Imperium, it's put up a far greater fight than any other galaxy so far. Maybe 1 or 2 hive fleets is usually enough to gradually wipe out an entire galaxy. That Behemoth and Kraken should have done the job by now. So now the hive mind is needing to take a greater presence. Sounds crazy, but man, that would be awesome. That we're only now just getting a glimpse at the true intelligence within the hive mind. The truth is, like I said, we just don't know anything about them yet. We've barely begun to see them emerge from the void. Let's remember, whatever the Silent King saw out there, it was enough to scare him into coming back, believing his race was going to be destroyed. If you believe the Silent King's propaganda, of course. That really is quite a claim when you know how arrogant the Necrons can be. However, it is worth remembering, Leviathan didn't make a beeline straight for the Blood Angels out of a simple instinctual hunger. It did so out of vengeance, out of a desire to destroy the Blood Angels. When you know that, you know there is more to the Tyranids than meets the eye, and you know there is truly a reason for the Imperium to be scared. Whatever the purpose truly may be, one thing is undeniable: that Hive Fleet Tiamet could very well represent the next stage of Tyranid invasion, and the countdown is already well underway. But as always, what do you think? Just what is the true purpose of Hive Fleet Tiamet's construction, and why is it emitting such strong psychic power? Are the Imperium and the Eldari right to be concerned? And should they be paying more attention on a wider scale? If they leave it too long to truly intervene, could they leave it too late? As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. If you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too? But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.